I never thought a courtroom could feel colder than my own marriage, until my wife stood across from me, eyes empty, asking for divorce. The judge's gavel echoed like a verdict on my life, and whispers of betrayal crawled through the room. I was the villain in everyone's story, stripped of dignity, reputation, and hope. Just as the papers slid toward me, a door creaked open behind us. A doctor leaned close, voice trembling, and whispered something that froze time, shattered certainty, and threatened to turn justice, love, and revenge upside down forever in ways none of us could imagine. The courtroom smelled like old paper, disinfectant, and judgment. I sat straight, hands clenched under the wooden table, pretending my heart wasn't trying to claw its way out of my chest. Across from me sat my wife, no, soon-to-be ex-wife, Lena. She wore the blue dress I once bought her for our anniversary. Back then, she smiled when she wore it. Today, her face was calm, cold, almost rehearsed. State your grounds for divorce, the judge said. Lena didn't look at me. Betrayal, she answered clearly. The word hit harder than any slap. A murmur rippled through the courtroom. I felt dozens of invisible fingers pointing at me. Her lawyer stood immediately, confident, predatory. Your Honor, my client discovered that her husband maintained an inappropriate relationship with a female colleague. Emotional cheating. Lies. Secrecy. I stood up. That's not true. Lena finally looked at me then. Her eyes burned. Don't, she said quietly. Don't lie here too. My mouth opened, but no sound came out. Because the truth was messier than innocence or guilt. Yes, I'd worked late. Yes, I'd hidden stress, calls, problems. But cheating? I never crossed that line. Still, in Lena's mind, trust once cracked was already shattered. Her lawyer placed printed messages on the desk. Screenshots. Cropped. Out of context. My colleague thanking me for support during her divorce. Late-night messages about work crises. Nothing romantic, but it looked bad. The judge frowned. Lena's voice trembled as she spoke again. I begged him to tell me the truth. He swore there was nothing. I felt humiliated. I felt crazy. I couldn't live like that. Each word felt like a nail. My lawyer leaned over. We'll fight this, he whispered. But right now, perception is against you. That's when I noticed her parents sitting behind her, arms crossed, eyes full of disgust. Her mother shook her head slowly, like she was at a funeral. Maybe she was. The funeral of the man she once called son. The judge adjusted his glasses. Given the evidence presented, the court acknowledges irreconcilable differences. We will proceed. Proceed. As if my life were just a file folder. Then Lena stood. There's more, she said suddenly. My pulse spiked. She turned to face me fully, voice louder now. I gave up my career for this marriage. I supported him while he climbed the corporate ladder. And this is how he repaid me, by making me feel disposable. Gasps. Judgment. Finality. I wanted to scream that I loved her. That every promotion, every late night, was for us. That I was planning to fix things. That I never stopped choosing her. But the courtroom didn't care about intentions. Only damage. The judge nodded solemnly. We will recess briefly before addressing asset division. A recess. A pause before everything I built was taken apart piece by piece. Lena walked past me without a glance. Her shoulder brushed mine. Cold. Final. I stayed frozen in my seat, staring at the table, wondering how betrayal could feel so one-sided. Wondering how love could be erased with paperwork and public shame. That's when I heard hurried footsteps. And then a voice behind me, low, urgent. Excuse me, someone whispered. Sir, we need to talk. Privately. It's about your wife. I turned slowly. It was a doctor. In a white coat. Eyes wide. Breath uneven. And suddenly, the courtroom felt too small for what was about to be said. The doctor gestured urgently toward the hallway, his hand trembling slightly. I followed him on instinct, my lawyer calling my name behind me, his voice fading into courtroom noise. The corridor outside was stark white, buzzing with fluorescent lights that made everything feel unreal, like I'd stepped into a different world. I'm Dr. Harris, he said quickly, lowering his voice. I shouldn't be here, but circumstances left me no choice. My heart pounded. Is this about Lena? Is she sick? He hesitated. That pause lasted a lifetime. She came to the hospital 3 weeks ago, he said. Severe dizziness. Nausea. Fainting. I swallowed. And? He leaned closer, his voice barely above a breath. She's pregnant. The words slammed into me. Pregnant. That's not possible, I said reflexively. I stopped myself. We'd been distant. Broken. But not absent. Dr. Harris held my gaze. She didn't know at first. The test was inconclusive. Yesterday, the blood work confirmed it. My legs weakened. I grabbed the wall for support. Does she know? Yes. She found out this morning. Right before court. Everything snapped into focus. Her pale face, the trembling hands, the sudden emotion in her voice. This wasn't just betrayal or pride. She was drowning. Why are you telling me? I asked. Because, he said softly. She collapsed in the waiting area. Stress. Blood pressure spike. I advised rest, but she insisted on proceeding with the hearing. A lump formed in my throat. Is the baby okay? For now, he said. But emotional trauma puts both at risk. The courtroom door creaked open behind us. Lena stood there. Her eyes met mine, and in that instant, all the anger drained away, replaced by fear. Real, raw fear. You told him, she whispered to the doctor. He nodded. He has a right to know. She laughed bitterly. Funny. Rights suddenly matter. I stepped toward her. Lena, why didn't you tell me? Her voice cracked. Because I didn't want another reason to doubt myself. I thought maybe the pregnancy wasn't yours. I thought maybe the universe was punishing me for staying. The words sliced deep. I never cheated, I said quietly. I swear on everything. She looked at me searching. For lies. For truth. For something solid. Before she could respond, her lawyer stormed into the hallway. What is this? Why is my client outside during recess? The doctor straightened. She needs medical attention. Immediately. The lawyer scoffed. This is a courtroom, not a clinic. Lena suddenly swayed. I caught her before she hit the floor. Gasps echoed as court staff rushed in. Her mother screamed her name. The judge emerged, alarmed. We need an ambulance, the doctor ordered. Now. As they wheeled her away, Lena clutched my hand. If the baby is yours, she whispered weakly, everything changes. The words followed me like a promise or a warning. And I knew this courtroom drama was about to turn into something far bigger than a divorce. Something that would expose lies far deeper than mine. The hospital room was quiet except for the steady beep of a heart monitor. I sat beside Lena's bed, afraid to move, afraid to breathe too loudly, as if one wrong sound might shatter what little stability we had left. She looked smaller here, pale under the white sheets, no armor, no courtroom confidence. Dr. Harris entered with a file folder tucked under his arm. My lawyer followed close behind, eyes sharp, alert. This wasn't just a medical moment anymore. This was the turning point. The baby is stable, the doctor said. But stress like today's can't continue. Lena turned her face away, tears slipping silently into her pillow. I ruined everything, she whispered. No, I said firmly. We did. Together. Dr. Harris cleared his throat. There's something else. Given the circumstances, I ran a full prenatal panel. He paused, then looked directly at Lena. And a paternity screening. The air changed. Lena sat up slowly. You what? I had medical justification, he replied calmly. You fainted under extreme emotional distress, believing the father might not be your husband. That uncertainty itself was dangerous. My heart slammed against my ribs. The results came back an hour ago, he said. The door opened suddenly. Lena's mother walked in, followed by her lawyer. Her lawyer's confident expression faltered the moment he saw the doctor's face. The child is his, Dr. Harris said plainly. 100%. Silence. Then Lena broke. She sobbed into her hands, years of doubt, anger, and fear pouring out at once. I moved to her side and held her as she cried, feeling something inside me loosen for the first time in months. Her lawyer stepped back. This changes certain positions, he muttered. Certain? My lawyer cut in sharply. It changes everything. The truth came out fast after that. Under pressure, Lena admitted she'd been manipulated. My colleague, the same one whose messages were used in court, had quietly fueled Lena's fears, planting doubts, deleting context, even suggesting there was more between us. Jealousy. Career resentment. Revenge disguised as concern. When confronted, she folded. HR records. Deleted messages recovered. A confession. By evening, the judge reconvened, this time privately, respectfully. The divorce proceedings were suspended pending reconciliation counseling. Legal threats dissolved. My name cleared. But the real justice wasn't in court. It was when Lena looked at me, eyes raw but honest, and said, I was so afraid of being abandoned that I abandoned you first. I kissed her forehead gently. We're still here. Weeks later, we walked out of the hospital together, hands entwined. Not perfect. Not healed. But hopeful. The future waited quiet, fragile, and finally ours again.